Thank you very much, Anshul. And I'm sending best wishes to you and your team for all the wonderful work you've been doing on corporate spirituality.
What are the values that the festive season gives us?
It's a time of renewal, of expectancy, and of new hope. But how we did it is also important.
What we as humanity want to stand for. Values coming from the society and bouncing back to the work life. So it's a synced ecosystem in which we operate wherein you can't work in silos. Good opportunity to put the right kind of values. There's no looking back to have a better world.
Ethos of Ubuntu in South Africa, which is all about I am because we are. Congratulations to everybody who participated in the V20 through research and policy suggestions, thoughts, though having written a book, Corporate Approach to Spirituality, a best-selling book, in fact.
Story is the lineage that the companies have of how they have operated in the past and how they want to operate in the future. There's psychological safety at work, getting humanity back at work and make the world a happier, better and a more peaceful place.
Self-compassion is an area that we could perhaps explore more. People are asking those deep questions. Have a great festive season yourself, Anshul.
Have great festives to you also. Have a great time and I would see you around. Hi, good evening, Dr. Anne. It's great to have a discussion again with you, and your work on values has been acknowledged globally, and it's an honor and esteem to have this discussion again with you. Welcome, Dr. Anne.
Thank you very much, Anshul. And I'm sending best wishes to you and your team for all the wonderful work you've been doing on corporate spirituality across India and elsewhere. It's lovely to connect with you again, especially in the run up to the festive season. Thank you for having me.
The pleasure is all ours, Dr. Anne. So, as we are in the festive season and the world is going in the rest zone, um, we together thought that we should have a discussion around and what are the values that the festive season gives us, because it's a season wherein people come together and the cultures bind. So, what do you have to say?
I think it's a very interesting time, Dr. Anshul, because when we look around the world, we see a lot of materialism and a rush to buy presents and to be quite commercial around the festive season. But actually, if we pare it back to its simplest of forms, it reminds us that it's a time of peace, it's a time of renewal, of expectancy, and of new hope for new life, basically. And I think that has significance for a lot of workplace professionals. As we come up to the Christmas season and take a rest, we can reflect back and ask ourselves, have we achieved what we wanted to achieve? And that can be KPI driven. But how we did it is also important. So Carl Jung, for example, was a great a proponent of the idea that it's not just about what we do, it's about what we say. It's not just what we say we will do, rather, it's about what we do. But you and I would also add to that, it's about the values behind how we do that. And I think that's extremely important and will continue to be in the years to come. We see the work now of the Values 20 group, and we see the work of the United Nations spreading, with sustainability being a key aspect on people's minds. But also, I would remind people that sustainability goals are not just about environmental issues, they're about global poverty, they're about cities, they're about localized matters. And I think that's really important as we lead up to a very celebratory time for some, that we remember that these goals are a continuous commitment to want to do good across the world. So that would be my message. But what about you, Dr. Anshul? You work in corporate settings more than I do. Perhaps I'm more located in academia, but and of course your work is research driven. But what's your thought on the festive season across the world, and what message would you like to send out on our values?
So as we go on the rest zone wherein people are coming together and they are trying to have some kind of a celebration as a family, it becomes very critical of what we as humanity want to stand for. because the festival is the time wherein it gives us the time to reflect. It gives us the way we celebrate festivals resonates of who we are as a society. That consciousness in terms of values, in terms of what is the meaning in life that we are seeing, that comes up when we have the festive season. What we hold close to us, it comes up in these times. How compassionate are we? How have we through the year nurtured our inner selves? How are we connecting with others? How is it that we are bonding with the people around us? All of these things come up. So these are principles of corporate spirituality which we work on in a corporate setting or in an academic setting. But
Hmm.
these have their values coming from the society and bouncing back to the work life. So it's a synced ecosystem in which we operate, wherein you can't work in silos. So
Yeah.
festive season is a time wherein, like I was saying, wherein people really come together and they can deliberate on what is right, what is not right, what kind of life do we want, what kind of value system do we want to inculcate in the future generations. So even when the students, when they see, or the kids in the houses, when they see the celebration around them, maybe in the academia or maybe in the society where they stay, etc., it's a very good opportunity to put the right kind of values inside them through the stories that we have, through a lot of customs and the cultures that we have. So it's a lot of consciousness that is required in these times of how do we really take it ahead. And once those conscious choices are done, there's no looking back to have a better world. So that's the message from the corporate spirituality I would like to give. And I would also want to ask Dr. Anne,
Hmm.
I saw you doing a lot of research on the V20 policy.
Yes.
Can you let us know a little more on it?
Yes, this year's themes were slightly different to last year, where in the Brazil meeting, I was talking more so about evolutionary education and making suggestions about a pedagogy of peace to be implemented across our lecture theatres and classrooms in both schools, colleges, and universities globally. This year, I focused more on the theme of ethical leadership, and there was a particular stress on the ethos of Ubuntu in South Africa, which is all about I am because we are. And I think that message of relationality as we move into thinking more globally is ever more important to understand that the world is interconnected and it's easier than ever to connect with each other. But do we understand each other truly in that easier connectivity? Have we really understood the ancestral stories that guide who we are as individuals? So, focusing on the work of Paul Ricoeur, which featured heavily in my first monograph, which was the output from my doctorate many years ago, um, he talks very much about the need for us to get into the laboratory of the self, which is to understand ourselves always en route to understanding others and through others. And you mentioned the stories that we tell. That's one of the key aspects that I brought out in my proposals for the V20 policy suggestions, is that we look more closely at the narrative identities of communities and individuals in order to foster that deeper understanding, because our classrooms are global. Our businesses are global in orientation. Even if we don't strategically call them that, we are strategically connected globally anyway through digitalized mechanisms. And because of that, I think the value of respect for cultural traditions and individual, where people are from, even if it, can be tribal ancestry, it can be indigenous peoples. We have to think more broadly than we have been about how to connect with others. And that learning for me is often sitting in our classrooms untapped, where we have people from all around the world and our classrooms are global, but are we actually understanding the narratives that are contained within the histories that make up those classrooms? So I was making some recommendations for the need for storytelling to be a key aspect of a pedagogical approach going forward in the future. So we wait to see, and congratulations to everybody who participated in the V20 through research and policy suggestions, because it's a huge undertaking, and it matters. So I'd be interested in your thoughts, though, having written a book on the corporate approach to spirituality, a best-selling book, in fact, Anshul, how you see the importance of story in the corporate setting, perhaps.
The story is the lineage that the companies have of how they have operated in the past and how they want to operate in the future. And even for startups, the values which they hold together are the stories which they speak in the culture. So, our work revolves around understanding them and having them in a certain manner wherein there is psychological safety at work, wherein wherein people are not working just for money, they are working because they see meaning in life through work, and that gives them the sense of satisfaction and peace, which they bring back to their families and society at large. So when we say spirituality, it is more about interconnectedness. It is more about the global connectedness that you were speaking of. That is
Mhm.
also a part of spirituality, wherein you can accept each other, wherein you can accept the differences. At the same time, you can be on the same page. And how well can you this so being in different parts of the world, how well can you resonate with the core values that humans stand for? It is about getting humanity back at work, is what we work around. So it's at the end of the day, it's all about the values that we as individuals hold together, not just in our personal lives, not just in our work, but in the society at large. And festive season is a great time to reinforce them, and a great time to celebrate and have a great time in total, and make the world a happier, better, and a more peaceful place. So that's a golden
It,
opportunity.
it is, Dr. Anshul, and I also would like to add that leisure time is an ethical requirement. Sometimes we don't tend to think of taking time off as something that we require for ethical responsibility as leaders and as individuals, to give ourselves that permission to rest and recuperate and recover. And I think that self-compassion is an area that we could perhaps explore more as we begin to value ourselves in relation to others a lot more, in a lot more balanced way than before. And as ever, Anshul, it's a pleasure to talk to you, because sometimes we can be working, you mentioned silos earlier in relation to inside of organizations, but I think we can be siloed across the world as well and think. And actually, what we find is that people are asking those deep questions across the world right now. And that's why the greater connectivity that we can have, an understanding of each other and of cultural festivals as well, I think it will lead to greater productivity in the workplace and in our personal lives. So thank you for sharing all of that.
Thank you, Dr. Anne, for sharing your views too. Let's together hope that we somewhere contribute in making the world a better place, a happier place, and a more peaceful place. Let's work together towards it. And thank you again.
You're
Um,
welcome.
let's catch up again soon.
Exactly. And have a great festive season yourself, Anshul, to yourself and your family and
Have,
your business partners.
have great festives to you also. Have a great time, and I would see you around.
Take care.